All throughout this pandemic, we've been heard one thing: follow the science, trust the science. And the governments of the world, the governments of North America have been saying, hey, trust the science. But I want to ask a question. Do our governments really trust science? Are they really following the science? Is that really their foundation? Well, I would argue that the Canadian government, over the last little while, the last month, has proven that no, they do not follow science. They don't follow it at all. They're following something else. Now, how do I know this? How do I say this? Well, it comes right back to a bill that was recently passed, got royal ascension back on December 8th. It's Bill C4. Bill C4. No, that's not a bill to go blow something up. Well, that'd be kind of cool. I'd love to see that. I like watching Mythbusters, particularly when they blew up the cement truck in the quarry. That was a great explosion. But it's got nothing to do with that. Bill C4 is all about conversion therapy. And it's all about shutting down conversion therapy. Now, I got a lot that I could say on that. But I'm talking about here, do they really follow the science? Do they really follow science? Well, no, they don't. Because under their own bill, what they're saying is absolutely valid, and you can't say that it's wrong, is that you're not allowed, in other words, to encourage anyone under their section, conversion therapy, section F, to repress or reduce a person's gender expression. See, the problem is this is where they're not following science. Gender expression is not a scientific term. How I feel is not relative to science. Science doesn't care really how you feel, or it's not supposed to care how you feel. But here we got the Canadian government defining that, hey, gender expression, how you feel, is a scientific term that should never be oppressed. See, this is the problem. I remember teaching youth about this gender identity, gender expression, gender and sex, and that kind of thing. And the biggest issue that people have developed is this idea that gender roles equate gender. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, to do this is what is really funny, is because typically people on the left, they say, don't put me in a box. I don't want to be in a box. But the very first thing that they have to do to make things make sense to them is make boxes. Now, what do I mean by this? So when it comes to gender, they will say there are certain things that are declared as masculine, there are certain things that are declared as feminine. So things of masculine expression. So you got things about aggressiveness, hiding your feelings, being into sports, drinking, this kind of thing, outdoor activities, car mechanics, and the such. Then you go to the other side, so the feminine things, dresses, makeup, things such as cooking, cleaning, doing laundry, doing housework, taking care of children, those kind of things. I said those are the feminine things. And so they say, if you're a boy, if you're masculine, this is what you like. So and this is what they put on children, that if you're a boy and you grow up and you're supposed to like playing with cars, playing with army men, roughhousing and sports and that kind of thing. And if you're a girl, you're supposed to enjoy pink, furry things, Barbies, yada, yada, yada. But what happens if you don't do that? What if you get a boy who likes to play with Barbies? Well, according to them, since they're not falling into the boy-specific gender, well, then now they can't really be a boy, can they? Well, see, here's the problem. When I grew up, in one of the places that we lived, there were really no other boy children. So the place that we often went was a place where there were 4 sisters. There was me and my brother, and then there was 4 sisters. So 4 girls, 2 boys. So what did me and my brother do? Often whatever the girls wanted to do. We played with Barbies. Yeah, I played with Barbies as growing up. Hey, it happens. I often played with a Ken doll, but that's just kind of the way it is. Does that mean I was suddenly a girl? Absolutely not. Like, I've got an 8-year-old son, and the other day he was pretending he was our dog. Does that mean I'm going to go out and suddenly say, hey, I'm going to buy him dog toys, I'm going to put a collar on him and he can sleep in the dog's cage? No, not at all. But you see, what the government of Canada has suddenly said, science is now saying, they're saying how you feel is valid. And this is a problem. And now people say, well, what about gender dysphoria? It's a valid question. Gender dysphoria is a real condition. Do I believe that the majority of people who claim to have it? Well, absolutely not. I think it's pushed upon them by, first stereotype here, overzealous mothers. Typically in these cases, I would say that most of them suffer from the father's out of the picture. But gender dysphoria is a very real thing. It's what happens typically when there's a chemical imbalance in the person. And typically, I think it's like at least 85% of them that if the child is left alone to go through puberty properly, it corrects itself as the balance of hormones, it balances it out as they grow. But the government of Canada says, no. You can't stop this now. So if you get a child who says, yeah, I'm a boy or I'm a girl, doesn't matter what they are on the outside, doesn't matter what they're biologically are, if you correct this, well, then you're a criminal under our code. And that could be used to go against parents, go against churches, go against whatever, because it's how they feel. But see, here's the thing that doesn't make any sense about dysphoria. I asked youth this, have you ever heard of weight dysphoria? And they said, well, no, what's weight dysphoria? I say, well, you've heard of gender dysphoria, what is that? And they'll say, well, it's when somebody who, on the inside, they don't feel what they are on the outside. It doesn't match. Well, I said, well, okay, let's take that same idea. Dysphoria would mean how I feel does not match what I am on the outside. I said, so for gender, you're saying I feel, if I'm a boy, I feel like I'm a girl, but I look like a boy, or I'm a girl, I feel like a girl, I feel like a boy, but I look like a girl. You say, well, that's gender dysphoria. Well, weight dysphoria would be, well, maybe I feel like I'm fat on the outside, yet I'm really thin, but you can't tell me I'm wrong because I say I'm fat. We say, no, they got a psychological condition that needs to be treated. I don't see the government passing a law about weight conversion therapy. If they were going to be consistent in this, wouldn't they go out and say, hey, somebody suffering from anorexia who believes that they're fat, but say they're suffering from anorexia. No, they're suffering from weight dysphoria, that we should give them medical treatments, we should give them medical surgeries to affirm their weight dysphoria, that their weight identity, that they identify as a certain weight, so we should do whatever we can. We should give somebody who's already 110 pounds, we should give them liposuction to make them even thinner, because that's just weight dysphoria. And for you to disagree with that, well, that would make you a criminal, that would make you a bigot, and such. We go, no, that's not healthy for them. Well, neither's gender allowing and accepting gender dysphoria. It's a mental condition. As I said, most times if it's left alone, that it'd be treated as they grow. For most people who are suffering from transgenderism, it's got nothing to do with their physical. It's got to do with trauma in their life. It's got to do with bad home lives, usually, I would argue, and that kind of thing. Or it's being pushed on by society. Yet the government of Canada says, hey, we follow the science. They don't. And see, this is why the foundation that they're building on is leaky, it's cracked, it doesn't hold water. Because if it was a true foundation, then this idea that how I feel when it comes to sexuality and how I feel when it comes to gender should be able to be applied in other areas like weight dysphoria or any other kind of dysphoria, interspecies dysphoria if you want. I'm a person who feels like I'm a cat. Really was a guy who did that. He went through a whole bunch of surgeries, tattoos, everything, had his teeth redone to be an animal. You can find it. I can watch an old show called Maximum Exposure. It's on there. But you look at that and say, no, they're crazy. But now we've got a government that says, hey, we follow science, but they're not following science. It's down to how I feel. And the truth of the matter is, science doesn't care how you feel. Science is supposed to be about the facts. It's supposed to be about, hey, I don't care, this is just the way it is. See, but it's a bad foundation. But this is where the government of Canada is going. And this is what we're supposed to trust. So is that the firm foundation? I'll let you decide. And if you decide on it, and you tell me, is science based on feelings? And is our government following feelings? Because that's a dangerous road to go down on. And you draw the line somewhere. But I'll say, the government of Canada, you're not following science. Hey, I just want to thank you for watching. If you like the content, want to subscribe, like, tell a friend. get the word out. Also, if you want more content, you can follow me on YouTube, on Rumble, or you can even download the Foundation with Steve Teed podcast and Take Me on the Go, found on almost all podcast apps. This couldn't happen without you, and I encourage you, build on a strong foundation.